Good morning. This is going to be the weekly past lives reading. Sorry, I've been doing a lot of purging and shifting myself, and so my energy has. I've had to use my energy for my own inner journey, my own spiritual journey. So I've really had to kind of pull back my own energy right now and really focus on myself and my needs. And so I'm still like not completely through it yet. But I did want to focus on, getting a couple of videos done. Because here it is Tuesday, and I always kind of freak out. Even though I know that time is just an illusion, I'm so punctual. Like, that's the thing. Like, any job that I've ever had, I've always been like just right there. I mean, I'm one of these people that you can just count on, and but I've had to like kind of turn that loyalty towards myself right now. So I hope you guys understand. But what I did was I pulled these Nostradamus cards. Now, the Nostradamus cards are a little hard for me to read intuitively, just because of one thing, because of the pictures. And I'm not sure really what it is, but plus the suits are different. Like, I marked a page. Okay, the stars, the suit of stars are the swords. The suit of suns are the wands. The suit of moons are the cups. And the suit of spheres, it's hard to say, are the pentacles. And so I really can't remember that. Plus, each card gives a very, very detailed description. So what I think I'm going to do is read the description for each card. So I'm going to go in order on the top row and read those, and then I'll come down here and do these down here. But I was divinely guided to use that deck, even though it is a little hard for me. And so I am being guided to read them. So we have, the first one we have the Two of Stars. And it says the Two of Stars represents the search for a balanced outcome. And this is reflected in the astrological influence of Libra, the scales. The magical association is therefore often with the figure of blind justice, who, unable to see, is therefore impartial. This may relate to the card to the biblical King Solomon, whose dispensation of justice was so famous that it became a byword. Two women, one old, one young, here represent the two faces of justice. So since this is a past lives reading, I feel like the King Solomon, for one thing, is going to be significant to some people. And there might be some of you that actually might have been there, might have actually have experienced this scenario that was expressed in the card. Because like I have said before, there are several of us who were there during biblical times. Our souls were. And if you are new to my past life reading, basically I have said before that because all souls are connected as a patchwork quilt, which forms the universe, we're all the same consciousness. So it is that I am consciousness and awareness. And so that's the reason why you might talk to like 50 different people who said that they were Cleopatra in a past life. And you're like, how and how? Well, we all can be just about anything, or could have been anything, on a different timeline. Because we're not our bodies. And so Cleopatra was just a physical form. She was the physical form of a deity. And that deity could have formed up many souls, was formed of possibly many souls. And so that's the reason why several people say that they were Cleopatra. So this biblical story could be significant to some people. And you'll know, because I had gotten some spiritual guidance yesterday. Yesterday morning, or possibly the evening before. All the days are starting to seem the same. I've been in this house so many days now. If the physical circumstances are the illusions, the 3D illusions, are they real? Do we remember them, since we are simulating experiences in this matrix, which is our mind? Do we remember them? And the answer was yes, the soul remembers. The soul has all of those memories. Because the soul, which is a divine being having a human experience, wanted to experience these experiences so that we can transmute any type of fears or any type of lower energies that come up and transmute them into higher vibrations. And by doing this, some of us are raising the vibration and the consciousness of the planet. That is my sole purpose as well. That's why I'm doing this channel. I'm teaching people this. So someone might have a very close resonance with King Solomon. But the reason how you'll know if this situation down here, this whole injustice or justice balancing resonates with you, is that you will be a person who has always sought justice, always been seeking balance, and you might even have aligned to quite a few situations where you felt were unjust and unfair. And so and I know I did. So I feel like I'm more of a people's champion. If somebody is treated unfairly, I'm right there. I'm wanting to speak up. I'm wanting to say something. That's not fair. That's not right. Just because of all the circumstances that I've been through. So this card would resonate with you. All right, let me read this Five of Moons. And I said the moons are the cups, suit. So this is a watery energy. This is about feelings. Five of Cups, yeah. I had to make sure I had the right one. The strange hirsute figure studying his books suggests the need to examine the past in order to understand the present and its influence on the future. The tree on the left-hand page symbolizes a family tree, which may offer hope to its present members of a family through consideration of past events. These can hold deep meaning and bring healing to those now living. The scrolls that confront and underpin the figure indicate a list of factors which, though outwardly burdensome, may yet reveal deeper significance when studied. Okay, so the message that I am getting with this card, and I have been talking about this for the past 2 weeks, I really believe very strongly that if you are watching this video right now and you are a part of this spiritual path where you are on a path of spiritual awakening and ascension, and you are conscious, you are awake, you are aware, and you're learning all the time, that you are here, one of your soul's purposes is to transmute. And how do we transmute? We shift our perspective from a fear-based energy to one of love and acceptance. And we do this by, the reason why we're doing this on one hand is to clear ancestral patterns. Any type of pattern, and I've had so many patterns come up for me. Right now I'm learning to feel and express feelings without blame, and without being passive aggressive or angry about my feelings, expressing them in a healthy way. And this is something that I have no idea how to do. And why is that? Because nobody in my family ever did that. So what am I doing? I'm changing an ancestral pattern. And that is for this physical family that you're in now, on this particular timeline. You are doing that. But pay very close attention to because remember I said the soul remembers. So as you are clearing these family patterns, and understand that your physical family could very well be your soul family too, and you could have switched roles from one to another timeline, where in one timeline they could have been father, sister, brother, and another timeline could have been a child, a lover. And souls know no gender, so you could have been a woman on a past timeline, this one you're a man. But any type of relationship you have, the message I'm getting with this is coming through, is if you have any sort of complicated relationship with a family member now, in your physical family, take a look at it, because the message that I'm getting is that whatever you guys are experiencing now, it was kind of like the opposite of that on a past timeline. So flip it around and look at it as if you are in their shoes and they're in your shoes. And really meditate on that and see if anything comes up as far as memories go. Because this is a family tree. And this definitely has to do with family. And so do really take a look at it, because I feel like the lesson switched. Okay, so you wanted to learn about this. Okay, and this next timeline, you know what? I'm going to teach you. Since I learned it, I'm going to teach you. Because souls are here to learn about human experiences. All right, now we have, I don't know which number that is. I know that is 11. I guess it's 11. Hold on, 10. No. 9. That's 9. Sorry. Never learned my Roman numerals. Let me make sure that's the same card. Yes, okay. 9 of Moons. And this is going to be about feelings. Here the Pope had come home, turned away from the uncertain path of the previous card. Seated now in his great chair, he dispenses wisdom from the cup or cornucopia of truth in the book of knowledge gathered on his journey. He is flanked by 2 female figures, the Virgin Mary and Ecclesia, the symbol personification of the Church. Between these 2 figures, representing heavenly and earthly power, the papal figure sits. Sorry. There's a big difference. A small dragon paws at his knee, representing the human doubt in the face of spiritual responsibility. Okay, so I feel like there's some of you out there that have had an experience with religion. I know on one of my past timelines, I was burned at the stake as a witch by the patriarchy, religious figures at that time. And so I have always disliked organized religion. Always. I've always had a problem with it. I've tried many ones, and all of them, I just can't stand them. And as I've gotten closer to my soul energy, my soul vibration, this has become more of a fact where I just absolutely cannot stand religion. So if you are like me and you've always had a problem with organized religion, maybe you see the hypocrisy, or you don't like being judged. I know that's my thing. And as you've gotten on this journey, you learn as you start ascending that there is no need for religion. And I have said before that religion, organized religion, is one of the most egotistical institutions on the planet. Because it comes from that whole, my beliefs are right and yours are not, and I will do anything to prove that to you. I don't care if I have to kill you. Look at the Crusades. And for some people, that the Crusades have come up before in my past life readings. So this could be a situation where maybe you suffered at the hands of religious leaders, and you will know what resonates with you. And really, meditation is the key for past lives to really come towards you. You have to really connect with your spirit guides. And sometimes you have to call them in. You have to be like, look, would you please work with me? And you might feel them energetically, which is what I do. And I translate messages, or you might hear or see them. So do watch for that, and don't be afraid to ask for help. But somebody has, a past life, several of you do, with organized religion being a problem. And I do feel like it has to do with a belief system, an opposing belief system, Quite possibly you were one of the Hebrews, maybe a Hebrew slave, and you suffered at the hands of the Egyptians. That message is coming through for some. We have the Four of Spheres. Spheres, spheres, spheres. 4. I got it right. I do pretty good with 1 through 10. The character who is said to stand behind this card is the classical King Midas, whose touch turned everything to gold, but whose luck turned after he became greedy and possessive of his riches, when he accidentally touched his daughter and she turned into a golden statue. The lesson to be learned goes all the way back through human history. We must examine our attitude to wealth and possessions to ensure that they don't bind us to the earth. In this card, the papal figure is seen distributing food in large S to 2 bears who represent his human flock. Over one shoulder, the starry circle of the cosmos suggests the need to include all of creation in the bounty and blessings of God. Okay, so I'm getting a really strong message from this card that somebody, and it's almost that Scrooge energy. You remember the Scrooge from the Christmas Carol? Of having riches, but the message that's coming through is that quite possibly you grew up poor, and then when you did acquire wealth, you stepped on a lot of people to get it, and these riches meant a lot to you, more than family or having real connections with people, and that you did become very introverted and very private, and just like an old spinster. That is the energy that I'm getting. I really can't tell you any famous names, so to speak. This could possibly be a king that was very stingy, because I'm getting stinginess. I'm not getting charitable at all. I'm getting not really looking after his flock. And this could be, you know, possibly somebody who I'm getting during the Industrial Revolution, possibly owned some sort of factory or plant, and, you know, employed child labor and really didn't care how to make how he or she made $1. And I'm getting this was a he. This is a masculine energy. And this could be affecting you on this particular timeline in one of 2 ways. You could either be too charitable, where people can just come to you and just ask you for anything, and you're almost like a doormat now. Or 2, you still struggle with that, wanting to hold on tight to money. But I'm actually getting, though, that you're probably more charitable. Now it's really, really hard for you to say no to people and have healthy boundaries. And so that is what you're learning now on this particular timeline. That is the message that I'm getting, is that now you're learning it's all right to say no. It's all right to put yourself first. And have balance. This is about balancing that. But I am getting that energy very strongly with that card. Because you know why I said I was going to skip around, but right here, to clarify that card is Witch's Cottage and Judge and Security. So I do feel like security is still very important to you. And you could possibly, like I said, be very, very guarded still, maybe. You know, and you could have been on the opposite side of this, where you were somebody who was exploited for wealth. And now your security and your peace mean everything to you. And so now it's really hard for you to trust and let people in. So I am getting that there's really two sides to this card right here. The oppressed and the oppressor, and both involved riches. And so there's going to be like a couple of different groups of you out there. One, like I said, people who really can't say no and just give away all their wealth, and money just doesn't matter to them. And they're really working on now having boundaries and putting themselves first. And then you have the people who were exploited for greed or whatever else. And so now it's affecting them to where now they just want to feel safe and they want to feel secure. Sorry, my lawn guy just got here. He's out there mowing grass. So I do get that card. So now we have this one here. Justice. What number is that? I don't know, but we're going to find it. Alright, sorry. Scattered throughout the sequence of the major arcana are figures that represent the four cardinal virtues of humanity: justice, fortitude, temperance, and prudence, represented by the hermit. Originally listed by Plato, they were considered to be the foundational concepts that raised mankind above the level of animal kingdom. Christianity later added three more: faith, hope, and charity, creating a moral framework upon which humanity could build a stable world. Justice ranked among the highest of these, and was believed to balance the scales of fate in such a manner that all who followed her received their just deserts, according to their way of life. Earlier echoes of the archetype point to the goddess Ostraca, who, according to Greek myth, lived on the earth during the Golden Age, but as humanity became increasingly wicked, she withdrew to live among the heavens, from where she could oversee the provision of justice of all. Interestingly, sorry, my face keeps itching. Interestingly, the figure which seems most to represent justice in the Lost Book is male. In every other instance, justice is female, although there is a certain androgynous quality to her in many representations. Here the figure is represented by a monk, who stands in a rural setting, holding a sickle in one hand and a flower in the other. The symbolism is clear enough. Justice is meted out impartially, according to the life lived. The flower may be cut down at any time. Perhaps Nostradamus was thinking of the famous biblical quotation concerning the lilies of the field. How they grow, they toil not, neither do they spin, as a metaphor for a good and simple life lived under the impartial ages of justice. I'm not going to read the rest of that. So basically what I'm getting is, I feel like some of you, if you've ever been really drawn to and connected to Greek mythology, I know when I went through a whole period of time where I was really, really into like Percy Jackson, the books. I read all the books and stuff. The movies were a little disappointing for me because I had read all the books, but you know, the Greek gods and goddesses, I was really drawn to those. So if you are someone, and I'm getting that the goddesses, the Greek goddesses, if you've ever really been drawn to the Greek goddesses, then I feel like this is something that you resonate with on a soul level. And justice is very important to you as well. And that's all that balancing. And you would be somebody who really appreciates beauty. And when I mean beauty, I mean outdoors, like flowers and trees and music and wine. I get that Taurus energy. Tauruses love the finer things, and they're very in tune with their senses. And so I'm even getting for some of you that you could, on this particular timeline here, that you're possibly a Taurus. And this relates back to this time when you were a Greek goddess. And you also, it seems like justice is the theme with this past life reading. Justice would be something that would be very important to you. Balance, and having balance in your life. And you are very grounded. And once again, that's that Taurus energy. So I'm getting that some of you watching this are Tauruses. And you chose this. That is naturally what you align to astrologically after the experiences that your soul has had on past lives. So I'm getting, and I've said this before, Taurus women are notorious for their beauty. Beauty is something that's very important to them. And so I feel like that's that goddess energy coming through. And you could possibly be a Taurus male watching this, and the same resonates. We have the forest, the breathe. And so what I'm getting with this is some of that that witchiness. Like quite possibly on a past timeline, you were very connected to the forest and to the moon, and that you practiced magic in the moonlight, and you felt free to do this, and maybe you were judged and stoned or burned at the stake, and this happened a lot during this particular timeline that I'm talking about. And you also would have a hard time with, if you're a female, with men. If you're a male watching this, you could have a problem with authority. I know I've always had a problem with authority because authority failed me when I needed them most. And on this timeline, when I was a child, when I was a battered woman, authority really was not there for me. So now I find myself wanting to stick it to the man every chance I get. I'm working on it, okay? But that is the energy I'm getting from this card. And look, see, I should have just gone down the rows. See, this clarifies this. Remember when I was talking about this card here, about that family tree, about connecting to, really looking at any of the situations or relationships that you have now in your physical family on this timeline, and really flipping them around and realizing that you guys flipped around lessons, that you guys both took on each other's past identities to learn the lesson in reverse. Because your soul has memories of everything that you've ever been in this book. And we'll go back to this. And remember I said that justice, and you could possibly have been, in this experience here with King Solomon, but you also could have been in that situation where maybe there was no justice and you were persecuted for your beliefs in the forest. Okay, we have this Judgment card. And like I said, this whole reading has been about judgment and balancing. And to be honest with you, that's what a lot of this is for. Because like I said, on those past timelines, you might have somebody who you shared a lesson with, who now on this particular timeline, it's been reversed. Now, I have said this before, don't let anyone tell you that you have past life karma. And the reason why I say this is because once you return to source energy, when your physical body dies, a reset button is hit. And you return to that perfection, that love source energy where lower vibrations cannot exist. So it eliminates that. However, you are here as a divinity to have a human experience. So when that happens, the lessons do transfer. And so, you get together with your soul family, you know what, we experienced this together before. Why don't you now experience it? Why don't I teach you? So that is what happens, and that is that karmic balancing, where it appears to be karmic balancing, but it's not actually karma. It's just a balancing, because the karma's been settled. Because once you die, your physical body dies, all of your debts are paid. Does that make sense to you? All of your debts are paid, so you would not carry karma with you. Now, you may have unfinished business. Sorry, he's mowing my grass. It's really loud. Or more lessons, basically. And this is that concern card. And you know what I'm getting with this? I swear the message I'm getting with this is, doesn't he almost look presidential? He looks presidential. And you know what? If you ever look at a picture of a president going into office and coming out, they look like this, all grayed and stressed out, because that is like the most stressful job on the planet, to be the president of the United States. I don't care. Somebody was a president. You know, could have been Abraham Lincoln, Ulysses Grant, Andrew Jackson, Teddy Roosevelt. And you will know, because you will have always kind of had a connection with them. And quite possibly, I know shit pops up on my timeline, and not my timeline, but my news feed on all my social medias about somebody over and over again, and I haven't even inquired about them, asked about them. I have never typed their name anywhere, because you know that they spy on us on the internet, and all you have to do is look up one thing, and then they bombard you with like a million of it. I haven't done that. So if you're having information come to you and it's not something that you've inquired about, definitely look at that. The rapiers. And so what I'm getting with this is, I am really getting that King Lancelot era. That is Camelot. This is putting me in mind of Camelot. So if you've ever been drawn to those stories, it's almost like a Robin Hood type of energy. Quite possibly somebody was stealing from the rich and giving to the poor. And didn't we kind of have that energy up here with this card, where he was distributing to people lesser than him, like he is a monk, and he was distributing to his people? This is a Robin Hood energy. I said there's a lot of justice in this reading, a lot of balancing, so I'm feeling very strongly like a Robin Hood or Camelot type energy. And you will know, because this is will be something you've always been drawn to. I'm sorry, he's rolling right outside my door. I'm always having noise. I swear, and I have said this before, when I do readings, I literally invite you guys into my home. And I've been doing video chat readings, like personal readings with people, and literally it's like, we're friends, like we've known each other forever. I get very personal. So we have this ring here. And basically the energy that I'm getting with this, let me pull a clarifier. I'm going to pull a clarifier. I'm going to come back to this one. We have Angel of Love. And so I do feel like there's some of you out there that have angelic roots. As in, you are possibly an earth angel. Maybe you've always been there to help others. Possibly you're a nurse now. You're doing some sort of caregiving. You're in some sort of service-related field. And you are always drawn to helping others. And that is because you are an earth angel. I'm feeling that very strongly with this card. And you will know who you are. All right, let me, I going to set my phone down and I'm going to draw a couple cards or draw a card real quick for that ring because it's kind of got me stuck. I'm going to start using my laptop, but I feel like I look fat right now, so it's something I'm dealing with. We have the Sun to clarify that ring card. And so what I am feeling like with this ring is, and I have said this before, the only people who are really married are twin flames. And the reason why I say this is because marriage on a human level is nothing more than a contract, a piece of paper. That's the reason why people walk away from it so easily, because it means nothing to them. Now, I've said this before, everyone is and has a twin flame. You might not meet your twin flame in this particular lifetime or timeline. Some of us have, some of us are on this journey. We're on the forefront, this first wave, to make the way for the rest of you to teach you. And to help you navigate the journey. Twin flames are one soul that has split in two, that is in two different physical forms. And it doesn't make any difference if they're opposite, if they're the same gender. Because you know what? The soul doesn't know gender, and there have been past timelines where you have been man and wife. But on a soul level, they are married. It's the only true marriage because it is a spiritual union. And so that is the energy I'm getting with this card. And with this ring right here, is that some of you are on this spiritual journey and understand the twin flame journey is not about romance. It is a spiritual journey. It is an inward journey. And if you have not checked out my twin flame videos, do check them out. I don't do mine like anybody else does, but that is the energy that I'm getting with these cards right here. And twin flames have had many past timelines together. And maybe quite possibly you're connecting the dots now and you're realizing who was who and what was what on past timelines. And you may have even had past timelines where your twin flame was not in physical form, but you're always still together. Always, because they are you. You are one. But this is your past lives reading, and like I said, I plan on getting the Earth runes done. And then I'm going to start on Scorpio, and I'm going to start on Sagittarius possibly tomorrow. Thank you for watching.